For more on that story, we're joined on the line by Dr Mark Sonderup, Vice-chairperson of the South African Medical Association. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you for joining us on the line from Cape Town.
Thank you, Kirsch.
Doc, you've been calling for this resignation since the outset, a move that is largely welcomed by your organisation.
Yeah, Kirshni, I mean, as a representative body for doctors in South Africa, let me just first say that this is nothing to celebrate. This is an extremely sad day in our country, that we've finally learned the truth that probably one of the most vulnerable and marginalized sectors of our society were treated in such a heinous fashion really calls for a moment of reflection for us as a country and to ask ourselves how could this have happened. We note the resignation of the MEC, but that does not go far enough. We talk in the report about the activities and behavior that led to this. It may be distressing, but in fact, in our opinion, it's criminal behavior. We would hope the National Prosecuting Authority and other agencies do the responsible thing and appropriately investigate this and actions taken. We completely support Professor Makgoba in his call that the officials involved who in fact are colleagues and are registered with the Health Professions Council are appropriately investigated and if necessary sanctioned. And it perhaps is also time and time for a reminder for all officials within government who in fact have dual loyalties to remind themselves of their loyalty to their profession and their patients first before their loyalty to the government or state or their employer. And this is one of the challenges that I think this is highlighted as well. Those officials were doctors first, before they were DGs, before they were anything else. They should have remembered that. They should have remembered their Geneva Declaration or the Hippocratic Oath they took when they registered as doctors. And that in itself is extremely sad as well. So we welcome the report. It doesn't wipe away the tears of 96 family members, 96 deceased families. But at least now we can start looking towards where we need to go. And more importantly, how did this happen? How did this happen? And it should never happen again. 96 people we know of have died. That is simply appalling.
Doc, are you satisfied with the level of accountability we're seeing so far, or do you want to see more heads roll? We know the Ombudsman at this stage is recommending the suspension of the DG and other senior staff with immediate effect. Yeah,
I think actually this goes beyond accountability. This is yes, accountability not happened so far. The MEC's resigned. We think that is just the beginning. I need to reiterate that criminal culpability needs to be looked at amongst all the officials, including the MEC. We'd like to see a degree of accountability of the provincial government as well. I think in any society, in any country, a disaster of this scale, one may ask, should a whole government not resign? However, the point I'm making is it goes beyond accountability. We must ask ourselves, how was this allowed to happen? Because if we don't address those issues, Kirshni, it'll happen again. You see, that is the issue here. How was this allowed to happen in a health department in a functioning province in our republic? If it's happened there, it can happen in other provinces, and that needs to be looked at very critically, and that we would expect the Premier to look at very critically, and perhaps appoint a commission to unpack that, to make sure recommendations are made to national government to actually ensure this doesn't happen in another province tomorrow.
Dr. Mark Sonderup, thank you for your joining us on the line from Cape Town there. He's the Vice-chairperson of the South African Medical Association, largely welcoming the report by the Health Ombudsman into the death of 94 psychiatric patients. That report released today.